We're here today at the booth at Sonnax, and today I'm speaking with Greg. Greg, we have the SmartTech drum for the Turbo 400. Would you like to give us an overview, simplified for this today?
I would love to. So I know a lot of your audience is transmission specialists, so I'll put it in terms. Most all of the 3 speeds from the 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever, they run a Simpson power flow, and with a Simpson power flow, with the direct drum in first gear, when and here we're specifically talking about racing and performance applications, but when you leave the starting line, this direct drum spins backwards at about 80% of the input RPM. And then when it shifts into second gear, that heavy drum that you just spun backwards comes to a complete stop. And now you're in second gear. Going through that, when it shifts to third gear, this drum goes from a dead stop to input RPM. So that's a lot of wasted energy, spinning it up, stopping and slowing it down. So with a drag racing Turbo 400, with the trans brake, the band that normally wraps around the direct drum is eliminated. And once that drum is eliminated, there's an opportunity to bring the forward drum and the direct drum together.
Correct.
And that's what we've done with the SmartTech drum module here. So there's one drum that holds both the forward clutch and the direct clutch.
Correct. Now, when a consumer receives this, it's a full package they fully have to assemble, correct?
Correct.
So it's not just one module that's already put together, they have to do that.
It includes everything from the intermediate clutch to the back of the pump. So it's a complete kit with 100% new content, but it does have to be assembled, but we have step-by-step instructions, and then there's also a separate video online that goes through the assembly in a much slower, more detailed way.
Correct, and most people that I do know and see from time to time don't really look at instructions, or they don't go to look at the online information. So something that was brought up earlier about the trans brake application, depending on the trans brake, what are we doing with the piston?
Yeah, so the direct clutch housing, just like any racing 400 you build with a trans brake, you have to have a bleed hole in the direct drum. And there's builder preference on the size of the bleed hole. Sometimes it's builder preference, sometimes it's going with the instructions for your trans brake. So what we do is we have a starter hole that makes it easy to drill the hole, but it's very critical to open it up to whatever your trans brake manufacturer recommends or your builder preference. So that's the key thing that must be done. You have to drill it out further.
Correct. Now, for the ones that have a clean neutral, so this is a question that was brought up earlier, those that even do have a clean neutral, even if we're killing hydraulic pressure, or those that are just shutting the engine off, what's actually going on at the back of the transmission that can cause still an issue with this drum module?
Yeah, so I guess, the big issue is safety, and we've all heard about exploding drums, especially in stock cases or cast iron drums. But the way to think about that is you have your forward drum, which is connected to the input shaft, which is connected to the torque converter. These drums never explode because they never overspeed. Whereas the direct drum is connected to the gear train in the back of the transmission. And if you have a fault in the power flow, or you shut it off while some of the elements are still applied, the gear train can overspeed the direct drum up to 17,000 RPM or higher, to where it can explode. And that's just a characteristic of any Simpson power flow again, but it's especially problematic with the Turbo 400s, either when the low sprag fails in the back on launch, or on shutdown if the power flow spins the direct drum up. So with the Sonnax SmartTech drum module, we have the one combined drum that's connected to the input shaft. So there is no separate drum connected to the gear train to overspeed, because the whole housing here is connected to the input shaft and the torque converter. So this drum portion will not overspeed. Now, in this system, we still have parts that spin backwards, stop, and restart, and those parts are also susceptible to overspeed if you have a fault in your gear train. But the parts that spin backwards, stop and restart, are just this steel inner shaft, aluminum hub, and clutches. And they just don't have the mass to explode at 17 or 20 or 25,000 RPM. So there is no concern of anything exploding with this system. And while we did this whole thing for improved efficiency and improved performance, which it delivers, one of the great side benefits is that it's a great safety feature for any drag racing transmission running a stock case or any other case as well, because there's no chance of a catastrophic explosion.
Correct. I like that. So another piece that I wanted to kind of discuss was during assembly. I was explained that the springs in the module for the direct drum and the forward drum are really high pressure, and I know a lot of people use like a 2-jaw or a 3-jaw. So what is some simple items that we could use to compress this together that would make it a lot even to do that? It was a 700R. It was a 700R4 pump slide.
Actually, I'm not familiar with that one. That might be one of Randall's suggestions, but
yeah.
I did have the opportunity to get one of these that somebody else had put together, and it had the imprint from that, the typical foot press with the, the expanding fingers that push down.
Yes.
And there's 3 dents here, and this is a thick, heavy-duty retainer, but as you need with the direct drum, you need a lot of return spring. So we have a lot of return spring here. So personally, what I use is just a bearing race.
Yes.
But if you're in a transmission shop, there's no short of small round stuff around. So whether I think 350. Oh, the slide. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
the slide. The slide looks like it's about the right size.
Okay.
But I use a bearing race, put it in the foot press, and then you can just pop the snap ring right in there.
Good deal. Well, I do appreciate your time today, Greg.
It was great hanging out with you, Brandon.
Thanks, sir.
See you. Yeah.
Have a good day.